Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Daily English Talk podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jack. Thanks for joining us today. We're really digging into something crucial for English learners today.
Absolutely. We're focusing on how to achieve, well, clearer and more natural English speech. Because when it comes down to it, feeling confident when you speak English is just so much more important than chasing some idea of a perfect accent.
That's right. It's not really about trying to erase who you are or, mimic someone else entirely. It's about making sure your message comes across effectively.
And that you feel good about how you sound.
Exactly.
And the great thing is, you don't need to sound like you're from a specific English-speaking country to achieve that clarity.
No, definitely not. Clarity and a kind of natural flow are the real goals, and those are skills you can absolutely develop.
We've put together some really practical approaches that, well, you can start experimenting with pretty much immediately.
Yeah, we're talking about how tuning your ear can make a huge difference, some simple techniques to get your mouth and tongue working in new ways.
And even some fun activities, actually, to help your English sound more natural.
And we're not just going to talk about it. We'll actually do some practice together as we go.
Right. So stick with us, and if you can, try to participate. That's where you'll really start to feel the difference.
Ready to get started then?
Definitely.
Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of techniques, let's just lay out what we'll be exploring today.
Good idea. We want to give you a sort of step-by-step guide to improving your English speech, but in a way that feels intuitive and, manageable.
Exactly. And remember, this isn't about overnight perfection or anything. Think of it more like a gradual process.
Building new habits through consistent effort.
So, here's a quick look at what we'll be covering.
Okay, first up, we'll discuss why focusing on your accent, or rather your speech clarity, truly matters. And it's probably not for the reasons you initially think.
Yeah, it's less about achieving a specific sound and more about the impact clear, confident communication actually has.
Then we'll move on to the foundational skill, listening.
Oh yeah, absolutely crucial. You really can't improve how you speak until you become a more discerning listener.
We'll show you how targeted listening can actually start to reshape your pronunciation.
After that, we'll tackle some key English sounds. The ones that often present a challenge for learners.
Like the sound?
Exactly. Or maybe the vowel sounds in words like ship versus sheep. Mastering even a few of these can really boost your clarity.
Building on that, we'll look at the physical side of speaking English, how to train the muscles in your mouth.
Right, because English uses a different set of movements than many other languages, doesn't it?
It does. So we'll go through some simple exercises to help you develop more natural articulation.
Next up is a really powerful technique called shadowing.
Ah, yes, shadowing. If you haven't heard of it, it's just a fantastic way to quickly improve your pronunciation, your rhythm.
And the natural rise and fall of your voice in English.
Right.
That intonation. We'll explain exactly how to get started with this.
And speaking of that rise and fall, we'll then focus specifically on rhythm and intonation, what some people call the music of English.
Understanding and using these elements correctly is just crucial for sounding natural and, importantly, conveying meaning effectively.
Finally, we'll round things out with some key takeaways and, some encouragement.
Because we know that working on your speech can sometimes feel like a big task, but with the right approach
and consistent practice,
you will see remarkable progress.
Okay, so just a quick rundown then.
Yeah, let's do it. 1, the real reasons why clear speech matters.
2, sharpening those listening skills.
3, conquering key English sounds.
4, training your mouth muscles, the articulators.
5, understanding and using shadowing.
6, developing natural rhythm and intonation.
And 7, just some essential tips and motivation to keep you going.
Perfect. With our roadmap in place, let's dive into our first area, why focusing on your English speech is so important. Ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, before we delve into the specific techniques, we wanted to share maybe a couple of personal experiences, just to show that improving your English speaking is definitely achievable.
And that hitting hurdles is totally normal, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because honestly, when I was first grappling with Spanish, I felt like I had a decent grasp of the language until I actually started trying to communicate with native speakers.
Oh, I know that feeling.
I distinctly remember one time trying to order something simple at a restaurant. I just wanted to ask for water, agua.
Simple enough, you'd think.
Right. But due to my, let's say, less than perfect pronunciation, the waiter was convinced I was asking for vino wine.
Oh no. Water versus wine, that's quite different.
Completely different words, all because of how I said it. It was, well, a learning moment.
I bet. But it highlights exactly why clarity is so crucial, doesn't it? Tiny variations in pronunciation can completely alter the meaning.
Absolutely. And, okay, it can be a bit disheartening initially, but it's truly just a step in the learning curve. After that whole wine versus water incident, I really made a conscious effort to focus on listening.
How so?
Not just to the words themselves, but to how native Spanish speakers formed those words, the subtle movements of their mouths, the way their voices, inflected. And gradually my pronunciation got much clearer.
That's a fantastic point. And I saw similar things when I was teaching English in Japan. Some of my most effective communicators weren't necessarily the students who had the most perfect accents,
Right.
but rather those who made a point of speaking deliberately with clear articulation and a good sense of rhythm.
And they weren't necessarily trying to sound, say, American or British.
Not at all. Their priority was simply being understood. That was the goal.
Exactly. It's about developing your own clear and natural way of speaking English, rather than trying to impersonate someone from a movie or something.
Right. And another example comes to mind, actually. I had a student who improved his English intonation significantly just by singing along to English songs.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. He wasn't consciously studying pronunciation rules or rhythm charts. He just enjoyed the music, but by naturally mimicking the melody and the stress patterns in the songs.
His spoken English developed a much more natural flow.
Without him even really trying, in a way, it just sort of happened through exposure and enjoyment.
That's brilliant. So if you're listening right now and maybe thinking, can I really make a difference in how I speak English? The answer is a resounding yes.
Definitely. Whether it's through music, films, conversations, or dedicated practice like we'll do today, your clarity and naturalness will improve over time.
All right, let's channel that positive energy into our first key area. Why focusing on your English speech truly matters.
Let's get started. Okay, now before we dive into more detailed techniques, we really want to make this discussion as hands-on as possible.
Yeah, we're not just going to talk about improving your English speaking. We're going to actively practice together.
Yeah.
Right now.
That's right. So if you're in a situation where you can comfortably speak out loud, we really encourage you to join in and say these things with us.
Because actually vocalizing the sounds is one of the most direct ways to enhance your pronunciation. Really feeling it.
Okay, let's start with a listening and imitation exercise. We'll say a sentence at a slightly slower pace first. Your task is to really pay attention to how we say it.
The rhythm, where we emphasize words, the individual sounds.
And then repeat it aloud right after us.
Okay, here's the sentence. I really enjoy learning English every day.
All right, let's say it together slowly and clearly. Ready?
I'm really enjoy learning English every day.
Okay, now it's your turn. Go ahead, say it out loud.
Give it a try.
Great. Now let's try it at a more natural speed, just normal pace.
Okay. I really enjoy learning English every day.
Your turn. Say it naturally.
Excellent. And hey, don't worry if it didn't feel perfect. That's not the point right now.
Not at all. You can always rewind, go back and listen again. The key here is just listen attentively, notice the nuances, and then try to replicate what you hear.
Listen, notice, copy cycle. It's a fundamental step towards clearer speech.
Okay, next, let's do a focused sound practice. We're going to work on that often tricky, the sound, like in think and this.
Sure thing. All right, everyone, for the sound, the basic movement is to gently place the tip of your tongue just between your upper and lower teeth. Don't bite it, just place it there.
Right.
And then exhale air. You should feel a little bit of air flowing over your tongue.
Let's try 2 words. You say them, and then we'll give our listeners a moment to repeat.
Okay, first word, think.
Your turn.
Second word, this.
Go ahead.
Good. Now let's put them into a short sentence. I think this book is amazing.
Let's say it slowly together first.
Okay. I think this book is amazing.
Now it's your turn. Go ahead and say the whole sentence out loud.
Try the full sentence now.
Well done. Seriously, consistent practice with these individual sounds, even just a few minutes a day, can make a significant difference in your overall clarity.
Really adds up. Okay, for our final quick practice right now, let's play with rhythm a bit.
The music of English. We're going to clap along to the rhythm of a sentence. Ready?
Okay, the sentence is, she loves to dance in the morning.
All right, you say it slowly first, and maybe clap on the syllables that typically get more stress.
Good idea. So the stressed words here are likely loves, dance, and morning. So clap on those. Here we go. She loves to dance in the morning.
Yeah.
Clapping rhythmically while speaking slowly.
Okay, now it's your turn. Try clapping and saying the sentence at the same time. Feel the rhythm.
Give it a go.
Fantastic. Getting a feel for the rhythm of English like this, it really helps your speech sound more natural, less maybe robotic or monotone.
Definitely. It adds that flow.
Great job, everyone. And just a reminder, you can always revisit these little exercises whenever you want a quick tune-up for your English speaking.
Exactly. And don't be self-conscious about speaking out loud. The more you do it, the more comfortable and confident you'll become. It really works.
Okay, now that we've warmed up with some practical exercises, let's get into our first main point. Why focusing on your English speech really matters.
Let's do it. That was some excellent practice, everyone. Honestly, if you even participated in just one or two of those activities out loud.
You've already taken a positive step towards clearer English speech. It counts.
Absolutely. And it's all about those consistent small efforts, isn't it? There's no need to aim for perfection immediately.
No, you're building a foundation. And that foundation will lead to noticeable improvements over time.
Precisely. And speaking of building that foundation, let's delve deeper now into why this focus on your English speaking is so valuable.
Yeah, because it's totally natural for learners to feel a bit apprehensive about their accent.
You might wonder, is it really necessary to work on it? Or maybe, does it matter if I sound different from a native speaker?
Right. And the key takeaway here, we think, is that it's not about achieving some specific accent that isn't your own. It's not about erasing your identity.
No, it's about making sure you can express yourself clearly, feeling self-assured when you speak, and just communicating effectively, regardless of your background or where you're from.
Exactly. So in this section, we really want to highlight how actively working on your pronunciation and clarity can actually unlock more opportunities for you.
Yeah, whether that's in your professional life, maybe when you travel, or even just in building connections and friendships with new people.
We'll also share some examples, maybe from our own experiences or learners we've worked with, just illustrating how even quite subtle improvements can lead to really significant positive outcomes.
All right, let's get into it. This is our exploration of why your English speech truly matters.
Let's go! Wow, we've really covered so much ground today, haven't we? Packed with actionable strategies for clearer English speech.
Yeah, a lot of useful stuff, I hope. Before we wrap up, maybe let's quickly recap the key areas we've explored, just to sort of solidify everything.
Good idea. Revisiting the main points can really help you integrate these ideas into your own learning routine. Okay, so first we talked about the fundamental reasons why focusing on your English speaking is important. And reminder, it's not about achieving some artificial perfection.
No, it's about ensuring clarity, boosting your confidence, and just facilitating smoother communication overall. Your voice is part of your identity.
Exactly. And enhancing its clarity simply makes your interactions more effective.
Then, we really emphasize the critical role of listening skills. Remember that. Training your ear to distinguish English sounds and recognize the natural rhythm.
That's the absolute first step towards being able to reproduce them accurately yourself.
Then we zeroed in on mastering some key English sounds, particularly those that learners often find challenging.
Like we practiced, or those tricky vowel distinctions like ship and sheep. Getting those foundational sounds right makes a huge difference.
Following that, we addressed the physical aspect, training your mouth muscles. We highlighted that English uses a specific set of movements.
And practicing simple pronunciation exercises regularly can help you develop more natural and fluid speech over time.
We then introduced that powerful technique, shadowing, where you actively listen and try to speak along with a native speaker.
Paying close attention to their rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation in real time. It's a great workout.
We also explored the music of English, that rhythm and intonation, understanding where to place stress in words and sentences.
And how your voice naturally rises and falls. That makes your spoken English sound so much more natural.
And helps you convey meaning and emotion more effectively, too.
And finally, we offered some encouraging words, just reminding you that improving your English speaking is a continuous journey. It's not a race.
Exactly. Consistent small efforts each day are far more effective than trying to make huge changes overnight.
Yeah, be patient with yourself, acknowledge, and maybe even celebrate every little step forward, no matter how small it seems.
Your clear and confident English voice is absolutely well within your reach.
And remember, if you ever feel you need a refresher or just want to practice along with us again, you can always come back to this discussion.
All right, that pretty much brings us to the end of our exploration for today. But before we say goodbye, we just have a quick final message for you.
See you in a moment. And that concludes our discussion for today. If you've been actively listening, and especially if you practiced with us,
you've already demonstrated a really significant commitment to improving your English. That's genuinely fantastic.
absolutely. And remember, the goal isn't some unattainable ideal. It's about being clear, speaking naturally, and feeling confident whenever you communicate in English.
Every bit of practice you put in moves you closer to that. Consistency is key.
We really hope that the tips and practice exercises we shared today have given you some new insights, maybe some motivation to continue working on your English speaking.
Yeah, and if you found this helpful and you're looking for more engaging ways to enhance your English, please be sure to follow or subscribe to the Daily English Talk podcast, wherever you're listening.
And if you found today's practice particularly useful, maybe those exercises, we'd be incredibly grateful if you could perhaps leave us a quick review.
It really does help other learners discover our content, and honestly, it keeps us inspired to create more for you.
Also, don't forget that this can serve as an ongoing resource. Feel free to replay this anytime you want to engage in some focused practice.
Yeah, use it as an accent workout. Repetition is such a powerful tool in language learning.
All right, everyone, thank you once again for spending your time with us today. Keep practicing, keep believing in your ability to improve.
And always remember, your English voice matters.
We'll be back next time with more to explore on the Daily English Talk podcast. Until then, keep speaking, keep smiling, and keep growing.
Bye for now.